Before mass media, people didn't learn new things every day. This made people stubborn and not open to new ideas. People depended on others to learn how to do specialized labor. This meant most people looking to do a job other than farming had to do an internship to learn a craft. These people would not usually learn other jobs as well, which meant education was very limited to job-specific training. Here's what a classroom looked like before the idea of media in the curriculum. Today, we learn history, calculus, biology, chemistry, when before mass media, people didn't do this. People were also very conservative, which means they stuck to their tradition rather than changing. When today, tradition means a lot less. This is a classroom when mass media was introduced to the curriculum. Technology has greatly expanded access to education. In medieval times, books were rare and only an elite few have access to educational opportunities. Individuals had to travel to centers of learning to get an education. Today, massive amounts of information are available at one's fingertips through the internet. Technology has also changed the roles of teachers and students.
Here is Mr. Franson explaining the good impact on student learning and how computers let them become more independent.
I think it puts a powerful tool in the hands of me having my computer and students. Like any tool, it's something that has a lot of potential for good, but it needs to be used precisely. You know, a hammer is good for a nail, but it's not good for a screw or a glass window. So it helps me incredibly in teaching because it's easier to gather information and a variety of information. It's easier to present that through the PowerPoint presentations and the Smartboard, to present it online to my students so they can follow along as I go through. There are some resources that are available on the internet that they can access themselves, whether to work at their own pace in class or work outside of class. So it opens up more possibilities. There's still a lot of very standard teaching that I do, but I'm not resigned to teaching every lesson the same old way. I also think it's very powerful for students because it puts more ownership and more power and access in the hands of students. If they miss something, it's available on the internet. What we did, the PowerPoint, the assignments, all of that is there in one spot for them to access that. So whether they missed a class or they just forgot something or they're not sure on deadline, all that information is available to them now, and that didn't used to be the case. When I taught, I was only my 15th year teaching, so there's always been computers for me, and there have always been computer labs for students. But for much of that time, even when we had Chromebook carts, you had to sign it out ahead of time. You had to, if other people needed it at the same time, you didn't have that resource. So being able to not have to plan my lesson around the computer availability, but instead plan my lesson in the way that makes sense for instruction and having that resource always available makes it better for students, better for me for planning, but better for me only because it's better for students to do things sequentially in a way that makes sense. You don't have to, if we're doing something online for 10 or 15 minutes, we don't have to go down to the computer lab for 10 or 15 minutes and come back. We can do it right there. So that is really helpful.
In a traditional classroom, the teacher was the primary source of information, and learners passively received it. However, because of the access to information and education that technology has enabled, in classrooms today, the teacher's role has shifted to the guide on the side, as students take more responsibility for their own learning. Using technology to gather relevant information, access to learning opportunities today is unprecedented in scope thanks to technology. Here's an example of the new technology that has been introduced to schools. Schools have changed the way they do education by adding the idea of technology, making it fit the modern idea of society. Since the world is going straight to computer world, it seems like a good idea for schools to encompass that into the curriculum. How else is a child going to learn the good things of what a computer can do without a teacher teaching them all the great tools that the internet gives people? Having media in the curriculum greatly adds to a child's cultural understanding of the world by giving a child the ability to learn about things that are currently happening. A statistic of the U.S. Department of Education has said that 48 states and the District of Columbia have taken technology and fully incorporated it into the curriculum of their schools. Since technology in schools is new for many teachers and students, the idea of computer access all the time can bring the average of student cheating up by a substantial amount. A study done by The Guardian showed that Newcastle University, one of the bigger institutions to provide data, reported 91 cases of cheating, 43% of which involved technology. Here's Mr. Schlager explaining how education has improved his teaching ability.
So, when the Chromebooks were first given out to students 2 years ago, it changed the way we as teachers were able to communicate information, assess students, and do things in class. You know, for my class personally, I've made an effort to use Schoology a lot more. We've put video lessons, and notes, and answer keys and things on Schoology, and because everybody has a Chromebook, it's super easy to access that and be able to answer your own questions. In class, we are often able to use the touchscreen feature of the Chromebook, especially in geometry, to create sketches using Geometry Sketchpad and do other things that make using the touchscreen quite exciting. So yeah, I'm a fan of the Chromebook. It's pretty sweet.